You're listening to 360 Digital, a podcast brought to you by Mopinion's all-in-one user feedback software. This podcast series tackles a number of different topics under the digital umbrella, from best practices in UX and CRO to the latest trends and innovations in customer experience and digital marketing. This is 360 Digital. Hi everyone, my name is Penny Warnock, your host for this episode, and welcome to a brand new episode of 360 Digital. Last month, in episode number 6 of our podcast, we delved into how soft data can humanize your CRO efforts. During this episode, we spoke with Beerwolf's CRO manager, Tim Tice, who shed some light on the challenges of being a CRO specialist, as well as how he and his team leverage soft data to fuel their CRO efforts. Today, however, we're going to explore the wonderful world of the employee experience. The employee experience, or EX, is an emerging business function focused on analysing how employees think and feel during their journey through the company, starting with job candidacy all the way through to the exit of the company. According to McKinsey & Company, employee experience is defined as companies and their people working together to create personalised, authentic experiences that ignite passion and tap into purpose to strengthen individual, team, and company performance. So I guess the question is, how can employers and companies improve the employee experience, and how can they leverage it to create lasting benefits to the organisation? And even more burning of a question, what can marketeers learn from this? In this episode, we will dive a little deeper into this topic with the help of a well-seasoned professional. Today's guest speaker is a customer success manager at Apical, a platform designed to guide employees throughout their employee journey from pre- and onboarding to reboarding and offboarding. In his role at Apical, this speaker is responsible for around 50 to 60 clients, ranging from small and medium businesses to larger enterprises. Not only does our speaker have a strong background in digital marketing, he's also a proud dad and husband with a surprising passion for improv acting and pub quiz hosting in his free time. So without further ado, let's give a warm welcome to today's special guest, Victor Roman. Hi, Victor.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to chat with us today. Let's kick things off a little bit about yourself and your background. Can you share with us some of your challenges that you face?
Yeah, well, actually, in my day-to-day work, one of the challenges that we have is the ownership of onboarding at our clients. I think ideally a client has one or more team members dedicated to the subject of onboarding. As with smaller companies, usually that's not the case, but the bigger ones they have. And these team members are usually in the HR team or the internal communication teams. But yeah, as I said, for the smaller clients, for them, onboarding is something they do on the side. It's one of the many tasks that they have. And that also means that it doesn't always get the attention that it deserves. Actually, onboarding has a great return on investment. So if it has the attention it deserves, I think a lot of companies can get really much out of it. So a new hire is more productive or is productive more quickly. And a manager needs to spend less time explaining things. So if you really get people dedicated to onboarding new hires, there's a lot of value in that. And also, if you have one onboarding experience for everyone, everybody gets the same information, and it doesn't matter who your manager is. So that really helps, making things the same for everybody and making sure that they get the right information at the right time in the right amount.
Yeah, so it kind of helps standardization, I guess,
That was
within
the
the
word I'm
company a
looking
little
for.
bit. Okay.
Icebreaker.
So, Victor, you mentioned before that in your free time, you're an improv actor and pub quiz host. I'm sure that means you're pretty good at trivia. So, we've prepared some true or false questions for you. First, true or false, Cleopatra lived closer in time to the building of the first Pizza Hut than to the building of the pyramids?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I think actually she did, yeah.
You got that one right. Okay, number 2. The Belgian railway system was built with funds from the British. Therefore, in Belgium, the trains drive on the left side of the tracks. True or false?
Yeah, that's true, because actually when you're going from the Netherlands to Belgium, the train switches tracks. So yes.
Oh, wow. Really? That's so interesting. I didn't know that. But I'm used to this because I'm from Ireland, so we're on the left side anyway. Number 3, there's no such thing as a fish. True or false?
I think that's true. Yeah.
Yeah? You're right. That is true. Apparently, we are all evolved from something that is similar to a fish. So the word fish as a biological group is apparently supposed to be avoided. I did not know that before today. And number 4, Napoleon was a small guy. True or false?
I think to current standards, yes, he was.
Well, my answer that I have is false because he was 5'6", which is above average in his time. But yeah, that's true. I thought I'd heard that he was small too. And number 5, this is a tough one. The current version of the Android Apical app is 1.63.
I think that's false. I think we're in 1.70, something like that.
It's 1.57, but you're right. It was false. Thank you.
Thanks.
Good job. That was like 4 out of 5, right?
Yeah.
Amazing. Okay. Well, let's dive into a little bit about the users. So Apical offers pre-boarding, onboarding, and offboarding services. Do you find a lot of people use the offboarding feature? And if so, isn't it hard to keep those people
Yeah, good
happy?
question. At the moment, I think around 30 to 40% of our clients are using the offboarding feature, though it keeps rising. I think it doesn't get the attention it deserves, again, because, well, everybody that starts at a company at one point will leave. So, yeah, make sure you do that on a good way so people stay positive about the company that they've just left. Isn't it hard to keep the people happy? I think with people you mean the employees leaving?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think people leave for different reasons. So some people leave because they want to leave. They are happy and they probably will stay happy, and it's good to get feedback from them. Other people will leave because they're forced to leave, because the company wants them to leave. Yeah, hard to keep those people happy. Yeah, I think that really is hard. So an offboarding journey for them shouldn't be very long, but just try to keep it focused to make sure that the knowledge and the contacts are handed over in a proper way, and that the devices and the car keys and the company key that gets handed in the right way. So the process is really put in place. Yeah. So there's different reasons for people to leave.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'd say there can sometimes be quite negative feedback then. Where does the feedback go to and what do you do with it? Or who does the feedback go to?
Well, actually, the feedback that we get through the platform routes back to the admins. They can access it through the editor side of our platform, or we can send it to certain email addresses. And usually that's HR and communications, because they're the users of the platform. And then it's up for them to work with the feedback they have. But of course, when they set up these offboarding journeys, they know what to expect, because they know the people are moving out of the company. And usually they explicitly actually ask for the feedback. So, well, they shouldn't be surprised if there's some negative feedback too, because people are leaving the company, and it's up to them to really do something with that.
Oh, yeah. So negative feedback can definitely be
Yeah,
beneficial.
usually those are the best comments that can really improve your company.
Yeah. So you work with multiple target users, HR and the new hires. How do you tailor the app to those?
Yeah, well, actually, we have a few target audiences that we work with. HR and communications, as mentioned, those are our main users. They work on the editor side of the platform, managing content, adding new content, removing things, managing users, looking at reports. Then the other group, of course, is the new hires. They receive the app and they will see the content that the HR team has put in. And they will receive the information at certain times when it's relevant for them. Then there's another group, managers and buddies. They have a separate side within the app, like a separate field, where they can see the new hires that they're managing, or the buddy to, and see their progress and see the answers that they gave in the platform. So this way we can really make sure, that they have their own parts within the app. And actually, for new hires, we can also do something We call it tagging, giving them a label so they receive certain information which is relevant for them. So, for instance, somebody working in Amsterdam might need some different information about the office than somebody working in Rotterdam or Utrecht or somebody else.
Yeah, that makes total sense. That definitely seems like it makes things a lot easier within the organization. Okay, so we're going now to move on to the next segment, which is our social media moment.
Social media moment.
During our social media moment, we like to read off an interesting tweet from another digital enterprise and get your take on the matter. So, are you ready?
Yeah.
Great. So, CEM Business Solutions tweeted, "So many companies focus on hashtag onboarding and overlook hashtag offboarding, but creating a positive employee experience doesn't end when the employee leaves the company." Do you agree with the statement?
Yeah, I agree with the statement. I think offboarding is really overlooked and a very important part of the employee experience. One of the main things is people leaving in a good way stay positive about your organization and can still have value for it. For instance, by referring people to the company or giving positive feedback on a Glassdoor or sites like that. Also, what they can do is maybe give input on new strategies or give an outside view of new things that are being developed. And last but not least, if current employees see how you manage people leaving the company, that will also have an impact on them. If the current employees see that the leaving employees are treated in a bad way and they don't get any projects anymore, or they need to stay at home, well, that really has this.
It doesn't bode well for their impression on other employees.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I get that. I was reading some statistics. Doesn't it say that 45% of new hires leave within the first 3 months?
Yeah, I think it's about that, maybe even more. And one of the most important things that causes that is bad fitting culture.
Yeah, I was just going to say, with when people leave and they see them being treated badly by their managers, that really negatively affects the culture.
Actually, managers are one of the most important reasons that people leave a company. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I can see that. I can understand that. Having a good manager really just changes your view. So when you have a bad one, you can imagine how hard it is to get your work done. Okay, so on working with different departments, often onboarding actually starts on the vacancy website or even earlier with advertising a job or on job boards. And then you're in the hiring process, and after that you're in onboarding. So how do you coordinate everything, and how do you ensure a good experience if several departments are involved?
Yeah, a good question again. Well, ideally, which implicitly says that it's not the case everywhere, there's an employer branding team involved that really makes sure that the tone of voice is the same everywhere, or that the images used, that they're the same.
Mm-hmm.
And an employer branding team, I think, should be a shared effort of the communication team and the HR team. The best projects that I've worked with had really one project manager keeping overview of everything and making sure that everybody's aligned.
Okay. Making sure everybody's alive. That's pretty
aligned.
Stressful job. Oh, aligned. Oh my God. Oh my God. Sorry. Okay. How does Apical work with integrations? Different departments often mean different software programs.
Yeah, this is so true. Usually we connect, if we have an integration, we connect with two kinds of platforms. Either the ATS, the applicant tracking system for recruitment, where the vacancies are and where people put in their resumes, or an HR information system, which is like the core information system where all the employees are managed. And both have their pros and cons. So, for instance, working with an ATS, they're earlier in the process, so we can invite people to the platform earlier, but they're not complete in terms of information.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes things are missing. like what location will somebody work, what will be the start date, stuff like that. And an HR information system is more complete in terms of information, but is also usually filled later in the process. So with one of my clients at the moment, we had connected to their HR information system, but we saw that all the employees were invited after their first day. And then, well, yeah, the information doesn't really make sense anymore because they already started. So now we're going to change that into connecting to their ATS.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. My next question is, what do you consider to be the main principles of onboarding and or the employee experience?
Yeah, there's been a lot of research on that by different people. One of the most referenced research is from Miss Talia Bauer. I think it's done in 2010, if I'm sure. And she says that the onboarding, a good onboarding should have 4 elements. The 4C model is it called? These elements are compliance, clarification, culture, and connection. And compliance means making sure that everything is in place, that all the laws and guidelines are followed, that all the forms have been filled out. Clarification is it must be super clear what are you going to do at the company, what can you expect from the company, and the other way around, what can the company expect from you. Culture is, how well do you fit within the organization? As mentioned, this is one of the most important ones where a mismatch is happening. And connection, you really need to feel as part of the company. So compliance and clarification are more of the harder topics, and culture and connection are more the softer topics. And actually, I saw that the model has been expanded over the last few years with confidence too. So people should have the confidence that they know what to do. And actually, a 6th one, check back. So you need to keep checking in with people. Are they still happy in what they're doing? Is everything clear? Things like that.
Yeah, that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
So it's kind of expanded. It's the 6 C's.
Yeah.
Not the 4.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd say it'll just keep expanding. Okay. So how do you bring someone into the right brand story?
The right brand story, because there's different brand stories.
You tell me.
Okay, well, I think when somebody enters their employee journey or their onboarding journey, usually it starts with information about the company and the background of the company and what they're doing and what are the products and how do they make money. And after that, they can be routed to the right journeys by labeling these people with the right tags and giving them the content that's relevant for them. As I said, that can be based on location, but also based on job, title, or role, based on a country that you're in. So it could be different ways to segment actually the new hires, and that way they get really targeted content. That is really specific for them.
Okay. Okay, great. So before we go, we always want to give our guests a moment to share any last bits of advice they might have for our listeners. So, Victor, are there any key takeaways you'd like to leave our audience with?
Well, if you're going to set up onboarding, it's good to really have a focused view on what you're going to do with it, what will be the return on investment, who will be responsible for it. So really the strategy, and yes, it's going to take money and it's going to take time, but the return on investment will really be huge. So yes, it's worth the input.
Great advice. Well, Victor, we thank you again for your time and for joining us today on the show. It was great to hear your insights.
Thanks a lot.
Well, that's it for today's podcast. Hopefully, this has given all of our listeners a bit of insight into the world of employee experience and why onboarding strategies are essential to providing a positive employee experience. So, thanks for joining. We hope you've enjoyed today's episode, and we're looking forward to bringing you much more exciting content here on 360 Digital. Thanks for listening, and be sure to tune in for a brand new episode next month.